they've walked into a candy store and they have all of their favorite candies there. The Marxist, the communist, the guy from Africa, the guy with the crazy name,
the guy from India,
Muslim, pro-trans, like it's all there. And it's as if like they want to they're so frustrated by having only one hand that can go into one jar at one time that they like are trying to go into all the jars at the same time. They're in a absolute frenzy.
Paralyzed by choice.
And here is Glenn Beck. When was it? Do you remember when they were doing all the stories about him? He realized how wrong he was and how upset he was. Yes, or maybe it was in the wake of Trump. Like Trump is too much, and well, so much for that project.
I need to go. Man, Z100 852. Something weird is going on.
Yeah.
The World Trade Center is on fire.
Oh my
Seriously,
goodness.
the top of the building. We're trying to get information.
Top level of one of the
news to unfold from New York City.
A plane crashed.
My sister's in that building.
Okay.
And I hope she's okay. And I gotta run to New York. Oh my God! Complete pandemonium.
First of all, calm down.
There's raining papers and ashes.
Wait a minute. Stop just a second. Why are we going in I've got breaking news. Breaking news yesterday. New York City just elected as their mayoral candidate for the left and the Democrats a Muslim radical who is also a communist.
Well, socialist, but okay.
So, I mean, it only took you 25 years. It only took you 25 years, New York, to go completely insane. You know, somebody who is,
Pause it.
Well, I mean,
pause it. I just want to, we need to walk through this. He plays this montage of of 9/11. Our sanity was defined by being a victim of a terrorist attack in New York, according to him. And now we've gone absolutely crazy. Okay, first off, these guys were out marching against a Muslim community center that was like 4 blocks away from Ground Zero. This is a Muslim community center. In fact, that's where Laura Loomer, I think, made her hay in that day. You have forgotten to hate Muslim people, is what Glenn Beck is saying. He is literally comparing the state lawmaker winning a mayoral primary to a day where two planes flew into the tallest buildings in the country, killing 3,000 people. They're the same thing to him. Good.
Completely insane. Somebody who is, well, I mean, if I might quote Michael Malice today, I am old enough to remember when New Yorkers endured 9/11 instead of voting for it. But you've got a communist jihadist apologist now who was, CARE put $100,000 behind his bid for New York City mayor. So you got somebody who's endorsed by CARE.
Man, classic.
$100,000. That's almost that's almost 3% of the money that the billionaires put behind Cuomo.
Is that 1/300th?
That's really good. He also was somebody who said, he was for the shooting of the United Healthcare CEO.
What?
He said he was looking forward to driving down Mangione Avenue, which I don't know. It sounds like supporting killing people in the streets. Maybe it's just me. Then he also said that he was going to globalize the Intifada, which
Jesus! Wait! Why do you have to like pick your nose right in the middle of that thing? Yeah.
Maybe that's just me. I mean, what do I know? Tim Miller, who's a podcaster, asked him a few weeks ago about his pro-Palestinian slogan, globalize the Intifada. And he said, well, to me, ultimately, what I hear in so many is a desperate desire for equality and equal rights and standing up for Palestinian human rights. Oh, is that what you hear, Mr. Kerr? Really? That's what you, that's interesting. Right. So globalize the Intifada. I mean,
pause it for a second.
I mean, sure.
Let's break down that critique of what he said there. It was, is that what you hear? Oh, okay. For them on the right, it's literally all you have to say over and over again is, he's Muslim. He's Muslim. Oh, all right. You're Muslim. Okay. All right. Okay. You're Muslim. Oh, okay. Muslim. Go ahead.
Let me go on because I don't want to take him out of context. He then delved into the semantics of the Intifada, citing the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum's use of the word as a translation for uprising in an Arabic version of an article the museum published about the Warsaw Ghetto. Oh, so this is just a comparison about the armed rebellion against the Nazis. I don't know if that makes me feel better.
Pause it for a second. It's interesting because, people spoke about Gaza being an open air prison for a long time. Or like a massive concentration camp. But really, actually, to be totally honest with you, the Warsaw Ghetto is actually really the model of what Gaza is. The difference, of course, the Warsaw Ghetto, the Nazis were coming in and taking people after a couple of months by the train load. But it's a very similar situation. It was a full section of the city. There was, to the extent that there was power or water or food that got in at any time, it was completely dictated by the Nazis who surrounded the Warsaw Ghetto and walled it in. But there were resistance fighters who snuck out, who, ready for this? Dug tunnels to get under the wall. They fought back. Almost all died in that fight. It's fascinating. There was a guy who escaped and went to Britain. And I think he killed himself as a form of protest to get the British to pay attention to what was going on in the Warsaw Ghetto. And it was either him or another fighter from the Warsaw Ghetto whom they named a kibbutz after that was settled just north of Gaza. And if you look at the history of that kibbutz, it very briefly talks about displacing the Palestinians that lived there. Presumably they were sent to Gaza. That kibbutz was hit on October 7th. I think they largely escaped deaths there.
But Merrick Edelman you're talking about here, I think.
I think maybe. It's been a while since I read that stuff.
Yeah, it looks like he...
Did he
He was a lifelong anti-Zionist who wrote a letter in 2022. According to the late British writer, activist Paul Foote, he wrote the letter in the spirit of solidarity from a fellow resistance fighter as a former leader of the Jewish uprising, not dissimilar in desperation to the Palestinian uprising in occupied territories.
Well, no, he wasn't the one who, I think, who killed himself. But this is another. I mean, it is fascinating. Nevertheless, this is all they have to say on the right. Which is, incidentally, is there a difference between what Glenn Beck did and what Kristen Gillibrand did? Is there a difference?
A few more percent crude from Glenn Beck?
Really?
A few more, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe that's generous.
If Kristen Gillibrand was sitting across from Glenn Beck there, would she be like, oh, yeah, well, this is a concern. This is a concern. All right. But it's funny because New York was hated before 9/11 by the right. They hated us. They hated us. And then 9/11 sort of like, oh, there was like 10 years of that. But let me just remind you, like in 1999, when John Rocker, who I believe at the time was a pitcher for the Braves, was having to play the Mets, this was the perspective of the right prior to 9/11. And then we've gone insane in New York. We're actually electing an immigrant to be mayor. I'm not sure if folks know, like, the story of guys like LaGuardia. He did not come over on the Mayflower. I should just tell you that right now. But this is, we have returned back. We've come full circle. 25 years. They're so concerned about New York now.
While Rocker's remarks on our show back in November may have outraged Met fans, it was the comments he made to Sports Illustrated writer Jeff Pearlman that caused a national outcry. Rocker told SI he would never play for a New York team. Here's a recap of his most inflammatory remarks. Quote, imagine having to take the number 7 train to the ballpark, looking like you're riding through Beirut, next to some kid with purple hair, next to some queer with AIDS, right next to some dude who just got out of jail for the 4th time, right next to some 20-year-old mom with 4 kids. It's depressing. And about New York City itself, Rocker said, the biggest thing I don't like about New York are the foreigners. I'm not a very big fan of foreigners. You can walk an entire block in Times Square and not hear anybody speaking English. Asians and Koreans and Vietnamese and Indians and Russians and Spanish people and everything up there. How the hell do they get in this country? Since the article hit the stands, Braves Senior Vice President Henry Aaron has said somebody who feels this way is a very...
Although it was Hank Aaron was actually the guy who had to deal with Rocker.
Would it surprise you that John Rocker had a religious education?
What? No. Seriously? He's actually a Trump fan. What? Yeah. He supports Trump? What? Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.